Hello. So one thing we haven't discussed too much so far in this series is Extra Halfbrite mode, which on the Amiga gives you 64 colors instead of just 32. But the last 32 are just extra Halfbrite shades of the first 32, hence the name. So there's a myth out there that it's like, oh, Extra Halfbrite is too slow for action games. Well, this game in particular shows the opposite. Watch this. Too slow? I think it actually might be too fast. There's a loop here. So yeah, this is in extra half bright mode. So how do they do it? So the secret sauce of this game is that all the enemies are in hardware sprites, which is very rare. So let's show, it will get rid of all the bit planes here. And yeah, all sprites, these four enemies. So let's go through one by one. So you see, you get using the same sprite channel, it has two different enemies because they can do that vertically multiplex them. You don't, there will never cross paths horizontally. So then there are 15 colors. And then keep adding. There's also some guys down in the score panel that are sprites. And then half of the mummy. And then, yeah, so all these guys are sprites. You can see if I unpause it here for a second and watch them move. Yeah, so look at that. All those guys that you can see on the screen are sprites. So sprites are much less taxing to the hardware. So the only blitter object is your player yourself. Let me put on the blitter visualizer and just show you how many things are being blit. And we'll unpause it. So yeah, you see just my main character. None of the enemies are blits, but you'll see at the top of the screen. I'm not sure exactly why it's doing that. It must be something to do with the parallax, all the blits at the top of the screen. And then you also get animated tiles that are get blit. You'll notice that the collectibles and stuff are not being blit. Okay, let's take a look at the bit planes. It's in 6-bit plane mode, extra half bright. So one interesting thing too is if you just look at bit plane number 4, bit plane number 4 is just the background by itself. Look, and it's got a parallax kind of effect there. And it's also only two colors because it's one bit plane. So just the one color of the copper that keeps getting changed down as a gradient, and then the black color. So just two colors. And now let's look at some of the tricks that Extra Half Bright mode allows you to do. So this platform right here, right now you can see that it's got kind of like a translucent effect, and you can see through to the background. So that's with the 6-bit plane. The bit plane number 5 here is the Extra Half Bright bit plane. So if you take that one off, look at that, it just becomes transparent. So it gives kind of that shadowy, translucent effect. And so it's kind of cool. And then if you look all over here on the wall, right now, this is with extra half bright on. If you take it off, you see it's kind of brighter and kind of garish, some of the colors. So when you apply that, then yeah, it becomes more shadowed and more subtle. So that is quite cool. Okay, let's go check out some more extra half bright effects. So if we go up here, so again, there's kind of a translucent effect in the background there. So that is again by extra half bright plane. So if you take that off, you see it becomes more basic, just transparent through there. When you add that, you get that nice shadowy kind of effect. So kudos to M. Cottington of Entactogenic Design, who made this game in 1996. Sadly, it's a not very well-known game. It was just shareware at the time, but he sort of, made history and showed what is possible with extra half-bright mode. So this area gives you a good idea of the speed and the cool way that they change the color gradient as you move. And watch the frames per second here, 50 frames per second, extra half bright mode. Check this out. Look how fast that is. So yeah, again, like I say, almost too fast, which is crazy. And then it also uses a lot of big sprites. So you'll see this guy there's 3 enemies here. If we take off all the bit planes, then you'll see that they're sprites again. And this big sprite will go one by one. So you got guy up here, but then yeah, look, so there's 16 pixels of the big guy, and then 15 colors, and then 32 pixels, and it's attached for 15 colors, and then 48 pixels, and attached for 15 colors. So huge sprite enemies. So it's really a cool idea. There's a lot of different game concepts I think that you could do with the Extra Halfbrite mode like this. You don't have to be a big fan of the artistic style in this game, but if you put the same technique for other games, you can make more platformers, obviously, Sonic style platformers, or you can make shoot 'em up games. The only thing you have to keep in mind is that you can't have more than 8 sprites per scan line. So each one of these guys are 2 sprites, right? Because they're attached 15 colors. So that on this scan line, you would have that's 4 sprites. And here it would be 4 sprites. So if these 2 guys were also up here on this scan line, that would be 8, right? So that would be the maximum is 4 of 16 pixel ones in one scan line. Or if you have a bigger enemy, like we saw that bigger enemy before that was like 6 sprites, so then you could only have one beside him. You just have to keep that in mind when designing the game. But obviously, as you can see here, this is plenty of enemies for one screen, even if it's a shoot 'em up, and that's not even the maximum, right? So there's a lot of things that could be done. So again, kudos to M. Cottington. This is quite the game, and hopefully this video will help spread the word a bit about what he's discovered. And hopefully people will try more Extra Halfbrite action games using sprites in the future. That would be great to see. So thanks so much again for watching. Until next time.